Hello everybody, it is Benjamin Magnus here, and it is definitely time for another channel update, which I do not do nearly often enough. So in the future, I think I'm going to try to do one of these about the beginning of every month, just to try to keep you guys up to date about what's going on. What I'm going to start with this week is the Adpocalypse, because I've been getting a lot of questions about it, either through comments or Twitter or on my Discord, and I want to tell people what's been going on. It affected some YouTubers. It didn't affect other YouTubers. I will say it did affect me. I'm not going to give you exact numbers, but I lost about 20% of my ad revenue from the Adpocalypse, from like Coke and Pepsi pulling out. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I definitely suggest like Googling it so you know what happened. But short version of the story is a couple advertisers pulled out of YouTube, and everybody's ad revenue just kind of dipped down. As it stands right now, only about 15 to 20% of viewed videos actually are monetized, actually make any money. So that's actually down a little bit from where it was. It was already pretty low, and then it sank down a little bit. And honestly, if it wasn't for my rather healthy Patreon, I'm not sure. I don't really have anything to compare it to because I haven't looked at other people's Patreons of comparable sizes. But I feel like my Patreon's pretty good right now. Last time I looked, it was a little over 100 patrons were donating to the channel, which I really, really appreciate it. If it wasn't for those guys, those 100 some odd people, I probably would have had to go out and get a part-time job to supplement the loss in income. I mean, it's basically like if your boss showed up for work one day and was like, okay, you no longer work 40 hours a week, you work 32 hours a week. It's a lot of money to lose all of a sudden. Well, actually, no, it's more like you still work 40 hours a week, but now you make $10 an hour instead of $12 an hour or something like that, because it's the same amount of work for less money. But anyhow, I would definitely like to encourage any new people on the channel, anybody who's been here for a long time, to please check out the Patreon. Consider dropping a small amount, like $1. Right, I have my tier set up at like $1, $3, $8. If you donate $8 or more, you'll be able to play D&D with me when we hit the next milestone, which is $750, which we're getting closer to. I'm going to be hosting it's probably going to be something like bi-monthly, like twice a month or something like that. Probably not every week, just because that is a lot of extra work. But we'll see how it goes, how many people want to play, and how the campaign goes. We'll play D&D together. I'll provide everything that's needed. Nobody needs to do anything. Just anybody who donates at that level or above will be able to get to play. I know I think I've gotten positive reactions from about 8 or 10 people who said they were interested in it. So that's just something to consider. Just think about it. If you really love the channel and you really want to go that extra mile, just dropping $1 a month is all I ask for. So thank you in advance for that. In terms of streaming, which is something I do every Saturday, generally at noon, I've kind of been taking a step back from that just because the two main games that I normally play, Europa Universalis 4 and Crusader Kings 2, both got broken in the last patches. CK2, Monks and Mystics, was released, I would say, about 40% finished, and the last patch actually kind of took a step back by breaking some of the new features, and EU4 really threw Ming on its head. Ming used to be this really dynamic nation where every single time you play, it could stay together and just grow and grow and grow and get stronger. But then because it would the longer the game went, it would lag farther behind in technology, and it would get really big. But then that big state would slowly grow weaker from the inside out, or it might just explode anytime in the first 5 or 10 years of the game into 10 or 12 different nations, or it might have a minor explosion and a couple nation states would fracture off and leave, still a rather powerful Ming, but with these several other smaller, sects that broke off of them. Now Ming just starts strong, gets stronger, and rampages across the world. The tributary system doesn't work correctly. The AI doesn't calculate, the parent nation when it's declaring war on a tributary state. So a lot of times you'll have a nation declare war on a nation, and then it's just an absolute suicide because their parent nation got called in and the AI didn't account for that. So the AI declares really suicidal wars, and it kind of ruins some of the fun. So with that stuff in mind, I'm going to lay off the community events until that stuff's fixed. And hopefully it's fixed soon. But I am going to do some streaming of single-player stuff. Like today I'm going to be streaming RimWorld, which Alpha 17 on the road came out, and that's been a lot of fun. In terms of series, I'm going to be playing a multiplayer series with Bundeswehr Bob of Hearts of Iron 3, hopefully Black Ice. I have actually never tried to play that multiplayer, but I've heard conflicting reports if it works or not. I guess we'll figure out tomorrow, because that's when we're recording it. We're going to be playing Hearts of Iron 3 together. When Hearts of Iron 4 comes out, I will be playing the DLC, and I'm going to try to keep my salt levels low and look at it objectively. I'm pretty critical of their decision to focus so heavily on art elements and focus trees rather than like actual content, but I've heard really good things about the new air system, so I will be playing that. So Hearts of Iron 3, Hearts of Iron 4, I got RimWorld going right now. I've been playing Battle Brothers, but I'm finding it very, like, emaciated. Like, there's good bones, but there I found myself skipping through a lot of the flavor texts because they're often, after you've read a couple of them, they're just kind of repeats of themselves. It seems like the writer is trying way too hard to seem like old-timey, and it comes off a little funky. And I'm kind of lacking a little motivation to keep going. It's like, okay, walk to the next town, get a contract. Walk to the next town, get a contract. Walk to the next town, get a contract. Doesn't really seem like there's much much driving force. Only get more money to buy more armor, to fight bigger beasts, to get more money, to buy better armor. It just I'll try to keep it going as long as I can stay entertained, but I'm starting, my passion for it's starting to dwindle, so we'll see. What else am I running right here? Where's my notes? EU4 multiplayer is almost over. I can tell you episode 53, which is, I believe tomorrow, is going to be the last one. But we do have plans for another Europa Universalis 4 multiplayer series. As it stands right now, we have 7 YouTubers scheduled to play, which is going to be pretty interesting because the salts can really flow when you're only working with a few people, but when you start really adding people in there, it can get mighty interesting. I think the first time we're recording that is going to be June 18th. We're waiting because a few people are on vacation or out of town for some reason, and then right after that, the next DLC comes out, and so we're just going to wait for the DLC to come out rather than record a few episodes to have the DLC come out and then have to deal with, working on two different patch versions. So we're just going to wait for that to hit, then we're going to start recording. A couple other games I have been eyeballing, thinking about playing on the channel are Panzer Corps. I've been talking about that on and off for a long time. I really like that game. I don't know why I haven't recorded it yet. But more interestingly, Gary Grisby's... Grisby? Here, let me find it in my Steam here. Gary Grigsby's Gary Grigsby's War in the East, which is a turn-based, a massive turn-based, Barbarossa simulator, and it's quite complicated and very in-depth, and I am looking forward to playing it. I'm just terrible at it, so that's something to look forward to in the future as well. If you've been following my Dungeons & Dragons campaign that I've been running with, Bundeswehr Bob and Midgeman and things like that, we are going to be taking a 3-week hiatus on that because I believe Midge got into a show he wasn't anticipating getting into, so he's going to be busy. And then at the same time, some people are going, there's this 8-week period where some people are going on vacation, some people are going out of town for work, some people are busy and can't do it. So there's going to be this 3-week period where we're not going to be playing Dungeons & Dragons, unfortunately. Then we have 2 weeks on, and then I think 2 weeks off again, and then we're going to continue playing Dungeons & Dragons. And in August, we're going to start playing Starfinder, which is Pathfinder, jacked up into the future. So kind of like space D&D, which I'm kind of excited for. And I believe Roach will be GMing that, and I'll be able to actually play, which I'm excited for. I love DMing, but I also would like to play a little bit every once in a while. I've got some stuff on a merch shop now. I've been coming up with some designs, which is actually a lot harder than I thought it would be, really coming down with designs that I'm comfortable putting on a t-shirt or something like that. But I know that I've got some Borkvard Godslayer stuff I think I got him on. I'm waiting on approval on most things. I don't know why it takes so goddamn long. The only thing that's been approved is Borgvard Godslayer on a mug, but there's a couple other ideas that have I've come up with, like Magnus luck is starting to catch on. People are starting to realize how unlucky I am. I was thinking about having a shirt that said Magnus luck and then a D20 with a 0 on it. I thought that was funny. Or somebody said they wanted a T-shirt that said "Helm helps those who help themselves." But again, I'm just waiting on approval of some designs and coming up with some in my head, and working on them and whatnot. But it's on Spreadshirt, and as soon as there's at least a few designs approved, then I'll put the link in my in my videos in my Discord, so that you guys can think about picking up a shirt, and I'll probably pick up a couple myself so that I can wear them when I'm streaming. And one last thing that I wanted to do is I think I'm going to start doing like a monthly featured playlist or featured series or something like that, because lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of times I have people commenting going, hey, you should do a series like this with this game or with this mod. And normally my response is, I have already. And the person just didn't bother to check, which I don't blame them. I mean, most people don't know that you can just like go to a YouTuber's like videos or playlists or anything like that and just hit search and try to find it. So what this month's featured playlist is going to be Victoria 2, because a lot of people don't know that I've actually played Victoria 2. I did play it very briefly by myself. I think I only published 10 or 12 episodes. You'll have to forgive me for twirling in my chair. It's just something I do all the time. But I also played a much more interesting multiplayer series with Bundeswehr Bob, where he was Prussia and I was Russia, and neither one of us really knew what we were doing, so it was just kind of this like flail fest, and it was very entertaining. We had a lot of fun. Unfortunately, we didn't get to finish it because Vicky 2 tends to desync once you get into like mid-late game or like early-late game. Because so much is going on in the world and it's not really optimized for multiplayer. You can't really get all the way to the end. So unfortunately we didn't finish, but they were very fun series, and I'll probably do more Vicky 2 sometime in the future. I would really love to once I get a little bit better at the game. But yeah, what I'm going to do is put links to those playlists in the description below, so that if you are interested in Vicky 2 and you're like, I wish I could watch Ben play some Vicky 2, that's something that's already happened. And I'm going to try to keep doing this every month, so like the beginning of every month, and there'll be like a featured playlist to try to draw your attention to. So yeah, that's going to be it for this week. I'm positive I forgot to mention something that I wanted to, because I always fucking do that. But like I said at the beginning, I would encourage everybody to just take a very brief look at the Patreon page and consider dropping a donation of a small amount that you are not going to miss at the end of the month to help support the channel and help me continue to grow. So thank you very much for watching, everybody, and I'll see all of you next time.